Hello, everyone. It's Phil Jones from Projector Reviews, and joining me is Andre Floyd from Kaleidescape and Adrian from Stewart Filmscreens. Gentlemen, how are you?
Doing well, thank you. How are you?
And
Excellent
Andre
out
is
here.
way over on the East Coast somewhere, I assume, right? So today we're going to be talking about the things you need for a great projection system that goes beyond a projector. And two of those things are a good screen and a great source. But before we get started, we'd like to thank our sponsors, AV Pro Edge and Meridio, for helping me put on the Spring Projection Summit, where we talk about all things related to projection, including screens and, of course, sources. So today, we're going to be talking about a partnership between Stewart and Kaleidescape. Because if you look at big systems, you normally see these two products together. Adrian, what's with the partnership between Stewart and Kaleidescape?
Definitely. So we're just happy to partner with Kaleidescape. They are the ultimate movie player. Kaleidescape does elevate every component in the home theater. We have been, watching Kaleidescape from the outside, partner with some of the biggest brands in the industry, like Trinov, Sony, Scenic, Lutron, to name a few. So for us, it was a no-brainer, and we're just happy to partner with Kaleidescape.
Whenever you look at really nice theater systems, you kind of see these two products together. At Projector Reviews, myself and a couple of our reviewers actually have Kaleidescape players because of consistency. If I'm reviewing two projectors, I need to know that it's not the source that's impacting the picture. It's not the fact that the reason why I'm seeing digital artifacts is not because my kids are playing Minecraft in the other room, because I was streaming it. So I need consistent performance. And we've done multiple reviews on our Kaleidescape players. In fact, one of our reviewers, Cam Valentine, just did a review on the Kaleidescape Compact Terra, as well as how it works with a Strato C. And of course, every time we've done a review on these products, they have been very, very good. We've also did one about why you need the good source and how to maximize your system, like you said, any system, with a Kaleidescape. So we talk about different packages at different price points, where if a person has, whether they're looking at 15 grand or 50 grand, what's a good kind of recommended system, which is a kind of a great article as well. But today we're going to be talking about this partnership between the two brands, and there's some promotional opportunities there. So Andre, can you talk a little bit about this, the current promotion between Kaleidescape and Stewart Filmscreen?
So the promotion is that whenever you purchase a Stewart screen, which has a masking capability, either the director's choice, the VistaScope, or the WallMask screen system, and a Kaleidescape system with that, you'll get $1,000 off of the Strato C when you add it with a Terra, either compact or full-size Terra. And it's a perfect partnership because of the way that the Kaleidescape system allows us to set the masking perfectly to whatever the shape of each movie that somebody may watch in their home.
And that's pretty cool because, like I said, right now behind us is a 235 screen, but it'd be kind of nice when I switch to a TV show or maybe a concert footage to have the Stewart screen mask to give me the best performance from that. And the other thing, the Kaleidescape also works with lights. So when I stop a movie, the lights will come up, and when I start a movie, the lights will go down. So it really helps the integrator or a customer have a better experience. So it shows that these products are actually communicating with each other to best optimize the experience.
Correct.
So the first thing we're going to talk about, Adrian, is first screens. So you have all these different screens that will work with a Kaleidescape, and you see these combination in multiple high-end theater spaces. But how do you choose the right screen for the right application?
Definitely. So starts off with like the fabric, first of all, the material that you're going to view on. So we want to know, just the application, how much light, is it going to be acoustic? Where are your speakers at? As a matter of fact, for the dealer, in our builder, they can actually show us where they're going to place the speakers. We can make the material sound transparent. And then we also want to know, like, hey, how much light's in there? Is it a lot of ambient light? Is it a dedicated room? And then after that, we can pick the frame.
Okay.
And do you need masking or not?
Okay, so let's talk about this room that we're in right now. So in this room right now, this is a dedicated theater. The walls are black, the ceilings are black, the floors are black. There's no windows in this space. So things like high gain and ambient light rejection is not a main factor in this particular space. Then we told you that we were watching movies, and the common movie is what, 235, hence the the aspect ratio that we're using right now. And then there's a whole lot of speakers in this room because this is a demo space for audio systems. So the picture is important, don't get me wrong, but we're trying to sell speakers and AVRs. So this needs to be a very good acoustically transparent screen. So what material did you pick for this particular space?
So based off the application, based off your projector, I left that out. We want to know what the projector model is because we like to look at the lumens. So in this case, we chose the, and based off the throw as well, we chose the Studio Tech 130 G4, which is a matte white reference standard material, but it has a 1.3 gain.
So this is a 165-inch screen, and we're running an NX9 JVC, getting ready to replace it with an NZ9, the laser. So we needed something that would really make HDR pop, and of course it had to be acoustically transparent. So go ahead.
I'm glad you brought up the HDR because the Studio Tech 130 G4 is an HDR enhancer because of that 1.3 gain. So it definitely maximizes the performance of the projector. And then also with the Kaleidescape content on there, it's just a beautiful combination.
Yeah. The screen is big. You're sitting pretty close to it. If there's any artifacts or errors in the video, that can be distracting. And we want to make sure that we're getting the best audio format. So whether it's Dolby Atmos or Dolby Atmos content or DTS or whatever, that we're getting the best performance. And a Kaleidescape system ensures that when you're looking at this gigantic screen, it looks good and it sounds and the sound system sounds good. And when you're looking at your screen, I don't see little dots where that looks like a speaker grill because I have speakers behind that particular screen.
And that's exactly why we ask for the projector model number because we're going to go ahead and put our technology into the material so the sound can penetrate through flawlessly. It is THX certified and it will eliminate any moire.
Okay, and I will tell you that we got a non-masking screen, and I'm probably going to talk to Adrian about getting a masking screen because on the Kaleidescape that we have behind us, we have a wide variety of movies, but we also have a lot of concert videos, and most concert videos are shot in 16:9, and having the ability to mask from 235 to 16:9 would be helpful. And I didn't know this until I was talking to Andre and you today, that I can actually have masking and acoustically transparent all built into the same system.
That's correct. So you can have a motorized masking system. The material will be sound transparent, and so will the masking panels.
Okay. So what kind of masking systems do you guys offer? What are some of the options? And Andre mentioned that part of the promotion is choosing one of those masking systems. What are some of the options you have available?
Okay. So right now there's 3 options in our line. That's part of the Kaleidescape promotion. So the first one is the director's choice, which is a 4-way masking system.
Okay, so it goes both directions.
Correct. And then number 2 is the VistaScope.
Okay, so why would you want to have it go both directions, by the way?
So for example, if you want to, let's say, so right here in our seating here, I know we talked about the seating distance, but let's say you are using the director's choice 4-way masking and you went wall to wall, ceiling to floor, but we're just going to sit here. So the value of the 4-way masking is we can decrease the image, keeping its native resolution without sacrificing any performance. And then when we're sitting back here, we can open up the masking all the way, right? And you can get that big image.
And the other way you can use it, go down, Andre.
I had a dealer explain to me something once. I was in a place where they had a full wall of a 4-way masking system, and they talked about that. You know, when you're watching movies with people, you want to have that full big screen experience. But then if you're watching a hockey game or a basketball game, you don't want to be turning your head to try and follow the stuff from side to side. So they would just bring in the masking on all directions just to make the screen smaller, to make it easier to watch.
Okay, so you can you can do sizing.
Analogy. Yep.
Another one that you can do is you're watching letterbox stuff. Whoop! So now you have 235. Then you're watching 1960s Gone with 1945, Gone with the Wind, whoop, this way. So regardless of whether you're watching old content, new content, you want to reduce the size, like you said, for watching sports, you have all that capability.
Definitely. So there's about 24 presets on the director's choice. Communicates flawlessly with the Kaleidescape system, and your third-party control system.
So basically, the memory system, you would just you would say, okay, the Kaleidescape would say, okay, I know what that aspect ratio is, and when it sees that aspect ratio, it triggers that particular preset that you've already set up.
Correct.
Okay,
And that
pretty.
includes, like you were saying, also, like you mentioned concerts, made me think of it. I mean, they've been recording concerts for a long time for TV. When MTV first started, everything was 4:3.
Yep.
And so there's plenty of concert material that's in that 1:3 aspect ratio.
Yeah.
So you want to be
16 by
able to
9.
mask down to that too.
Yeah.
That's it.
So that
Yep.
that makes perfect sense. Now the next one you want to talk about is the VistaScope. So what is this one?
So VistaScope is instead of a 4-way, it's going to be a masking from the left and right. So it's going to come in
Close.
close.
Okay.
Yeah. So we generally start those off like at 240 format.
Mhm.
You can go to 239, 235, all the way down to 4:3. There's also 24 presets in that one as well.
Okay. So that's probably what we would get in here, because what I would want it to do is just close off when we're watching 16 by 9 content. And then we would use most of the higher end projectors from JVC and Sony have a picture positioning. So once it closes off, everything stays aligned.
Yep.
So it'll zoom out and so that would probably be the one that we would look at.
And if you needed, we can go bigger. And the value of the VistaScope, which I like, is the border's only 4.5 inches on the side.
Okay,
Yep.
that's cool. Ceiling is not very high, so we wanted to get the biggest screen we could. So a widescreen aspect ratio.
Perfect place for a VistaScope evolution.
Exactly. So
And that's exactly that's the answer to that question that people ask. Like, how do you decide what shape screen to get? And it has to do with the size of the room. So you know what the limit of the height of your ceiling and how low you want it to go, but you have plenty of width. So put in a wider screen.
Yeah. So like I said, the environment, what you're watching, what type of environment, lighting, where your speaker's located, how tall is your wall, how big of a screen do you want, all that stuff helps you figure it out. And that's why you guys have an insane amount of screens that are available. Now, what's the WallMask?
Okay, so the WallMask has basically 2 options.
Mhm.
Okay, so we have the WallMask vertical, where you can order it in widescreen format, 235 for example, and at the touch of a button, the panels will drop from the top and turn it into a 16 by 9 format.
Okay.
And then we have the WallMask horizontal. We can get about 6 presets. So you can order it 16 by 9 format, and then your masking is this way.
Oh, okay.
And with about 6 presets.
Okay, so pretty slick. So a wide variety of options. So the WallMask, you can do all of these different combinations, which is really cool.
All part of the Kaleidescape promotion, and all compatible with their technology.
Exactly. And so you can see there's being able to control all this. So you have all this flexibility, all this power, and you want it to be consistent. So whether it's someone who's very technical and a movie buff that wants to hit the buttons and do stuff, or your wife or spouse or kids want to come in and all they want to do is watch cartoons, and it does it for them. And the fact that the screen works with the Kaleidescape makes it easier for the integrator or for the you do-it-yourselfers out there to maximize the performance. So that makes sense why that works together. So now let's talk a little bit about the Kaleidescape, because we just talked about the fact that it's the ultimate source. I have them and personally at home for my personal use. I have them for projector reviews. We use them in projects during my day job, like the one you see behind me. So this seems to be the piece. And if you go to any trade show or you go to any high-end retailer, they tend to be using these. So Andre, why does everybody choose Kaleidescape?
Well, for the same reason that you choose it in both of your jobs, because the people want it to show off their stuff. If you go to any manufacturer, that they're trying to show off their speakers or their projectors or their TVs, and they want it to either look good or sound good. And so the way to do that is to provide the most data to those devices, whether it's a display or an audio device. And so providing more bits to that means you're going to get better resolution, better definition, more color, which is either visual color or audio color. All that stuff are the things that get compressed out of the image and the sound when you send it through a streaming pipe. And so manufacturers and dealers who are trying to market and sell their products want them all to look good, and so they use a Kaleidescape system to provide the best source for that.
Yeah, and yeah, consistent performance is critical. It was interesting. For one of the articles we did, I actually took the same movie on the same projector, and I connected a Kaleidescape and a very popular high-quality streaming source, and we went to the exact same frame on both. And all I did was switch between the Kaleidescape input and the streaming source input, and it was shocking. Wow. The difference between the two. How much more detail you saw in the Kaleidescape, because let's be honest, you're compressing. Compression is a fancy way of saying we're taking huge chunks of information and we're just throwing it away. Okay, and you don't get that on a Kaleidescape. You get pretty much the highest quality rendition that you can get for a consumer, pretty much, right, Andre?
Exactly. So that's the thing, is it when you don't see them side by side, when you're just used to what you have as your streaming device at home, you don't know what you're missing. But if you take the chance to just look one time at pretty much any piece of video and play one against the other like you did, you can see the things that are missing. You see what gets compressed out of it. Some of it is just color at the high end. Some of it is detail. Some of the other things are compression also has artifacts, like it'll add blocking noise or mosquito noise. And what Kaleidescape strives to do, because we don't have any mitigating factors, we don't need to fit a finite amount of bits onto a disk, and we don't need to fit a finite amount of bits through a transmission pipe. So we go for a completely visually lossless result across every frame of the movie.
Yeah. Now the funny thing is, people always could say, "What about a disc? What about a Blu-ray disc?" Well, a Blu-ray disc has a finite amount of space on a Blu-ray disc. So say that disc has, I don't know how many bits, how much can fill in a Blu-ray disc?
66 gigabytes is the
Okay,
typical.
so you got 66 gigabytes. You know, and if you're watching a 90-minute movie, that's enough to have a pretty high bit rate on that disc. But what happens if it's the Lord of the Rings, or it's the Jack Snyder's Justice League, which is like 4.5 hours? Well, eventually you got to start applying compression just to fit that on the disc, because a client or a customer or you or anybody else doesn't want to change a disc like intermission inside of a movie. So the nice thing about a Kaleidescape is the file size is the file size. You don't have to shrink the file size or change the bandwidth capability or the throughput to fit it on a fixed size. So when you talk, so that's the benefit of having a download service. You know that the over streaming services is going to be consistent. Your kid's Wi-Fi playing on your Wi-Fi network is not going to impact it, and the physical space, that limitations of a disc, is not going to impact your quality, right?
That's why we say it's going to be at least as good as the disc quality, but in a lot of cases it's going to be better because we don't have those limitations of size. So we can add extra bits if needed to make every frame visually lossless.
Okay. The other thing that's important too is the library. Like the couple things. First thing, love the interface. If you look at the interface behind me, if you're someone that's looking for content, this interface is absolutely stunning. And everybody who comes in who knows nothing about what a Kaleidescape is looks at that and says, "Wow, that is a beautiful way to sort through and look for movies and pick my content and stuff like that." The other thing that I love about it is when you're in a Kaleidescape, Kaleidescape goes in and puts kind of cool scenes in movies. So everybody wants to show off their big bad audio system, right? But a lot of times you like, okay, what was the best scene in, I don't know, Free Guy? So they've already went through and said, "Oh, you should play dude versus guy." So if I want to do a demo, that demo is right there. And the cool thing is there's no FBI warnings. I don't have to worry for the disc to load. I can just get to the point.
Instant play.
Instant play, which is why you see them, a lot of dealers, you see them at trade shows. I can make a playlist. As a consumer, you can make a playlist called, Kick Butt or Wow. And then your buddies come over and they say, "You spent how much? Impress me." And you hit a button and it's just the 4 or 5 of the best clips in your catalog, which is pretty slick.
Yeah, that's so fun to do.
Yeah. The other thing that really stands out is the amount of content. So Andre, Kaleidescape has a massive catalog in their Kaleidescape store. How many titles are we talking right now?
So we are up to over 14,000 titles, and that includes movie titles, TV series, and concerts. So it's the largest collection that you're going to find anywhere of this high quality content. And that's more than you can get of any collection on any other source, and especially of high quality video. And within that, one of the interesting things is because people are buying 4K projectors, 4K TVs, so they want to get 4K content. And people are thinking, well, the best content, is, should I get it on a disc? The problem is that the studios aren't putting out all of the 4K movies on disc anymore because for the the declining amount of disc players out in the world. So right at this moment, there are over 700 movies that are available in 4K on a Kaleidescape that you can't get on disc. You can get it on streaming if you want to get it through a teeny little pipe. But if you want to see the full res version of the movie, the only place you can get for those 700 movies is from Kaleidescape.
Exactly. The other thing too is go try to find a place that's physically selling discs these days. You know, if it's not available on, online from somebody like Amazon or having to order it, you're not going to run down to your local, hi-fi shop and grab a disc anymore. It really is not the thing. So we talk about convenience. I want to watch the latest movie. Oh, Spider-Man Far From Home came in, or the new Spider-Man. I can literally grab my phone, order the movie on my phone, and the new servers are so fast downloading it that by the time I got done washing the dishes, it's downloaded onto my device. It used to take hours. Now it takes minutes to download these particular files.
Yeah, and another thing that we added about a year ago was rentals. So, some people either don't want to build up a big collection of movies, or they aren't sure about certain movies. Do I want to spend the money and own this movie, or I just want to audition it? And so we've got about 8,000 movies that are available to rent for typically about $7.95, and it works like any other rental program where you have 30 days from the time you rent it to start watching it and 48 hours to watch it. But it's just, you don't need to spend as much money if you don't expect to watch the movie more than once. But if you love the movie and decide you want it, we'll apply half of that rental against the cost of purchasing the movie too.
So like the price of the rentals is not any higher than if you watch it on a streaming box, but the quality is much, much higher. So if I'm having everybody come over to watch, like I said, Justice League or the new Batman movie, I'm going to download it really, really well. And by the way, the Batman movie is a great one to compare a Kaleidescape to a streaming service because the movie is so dark. I mean, it is so dark that that all sorts of video noise, impact, compression noise is highly visible. Banding is highly visible. So when you compare the streamed version versus the download version of a movie like that, it is dramatic, the difference between the movies. And of course, you also have this huge amount of concerts. Like we mentioned, we have a ton of concerts because we're selling speakers and audio equipment. So just like I get done playing movies, I want to play concerts. There's several great concerts that are actually available in Dolby Atmos, such as Hans Zimmer. There's a new Bruce Springsteen, and there's also a new Eric Clapton that's available in Dolby Atmos for concerts. So there's some really, really cool. When we talk about catalog, the catalog is excessive. So
and that's another important thing to distinguish, that Atmos is an authoring format, right? So you can author an Atmos mix for streaming formats and for non-compressed formats or losslessly compressed formats like Kaleidescape. And so they both say they have Atmos, which means you're going to get object-oriented sound. You're going to get things flying out of the corners and stuff, and that's all great. But on the Kaleidescape system, you've got 10 times the amount of data that you have on the audio streams that you get on a streaming platform. And so the quality of those sounds that are zooming across the room is going to be completely different.
Yeah, that's true. So this like you have to worry about compression when it comes to video. You also have to worry about compression when it comes to audio. Because remember, compression is a fancy way of throwing stuff away and hopefully you don't miss it, right? So, and like I said, there's some cool things. Great store. I can actually, great interfaces. You have apps for your smart devices and mobile devices where you can use for remote control. You can pick your content. You can shop, on utilizing your iPads and things like that. So it really does help the movie experience. I could be shopping for new movies while the family is watching something at that particular time. So it's really, really, really cool. So
it's great if you're talking with a friend and they mentioned a movie they saw the other day, and while you're talking with them, you can pop out your phone and find that movie and order it and have it home waiting for you when you get home.
Exactly.
Nice.
So I think that is really, really cool. Now, the other thing we want to talk about is on top of the product, the store and the interface, it all comes down to that box. the different types of boxes. So I actually have what was called a Strato S, which is kind of like, a single room system. You could kind of do one or two other rooms. But even in this building, I'm starting to quickly learn the limitations of that. So I'm getting ready to talk to Andre and Josh, who's hiding on behind the camera, right behind the scenes, about upgrading this space to a Terra based system. So can you talk a little bit about the different offerings from Kaleidescape, Andre?
Yeah, so the big thing that we did back at CEDIA time in the fall was introduce what we call the compact Terra product. And so it allowed a smoother transition from what you were talking about before, the Strato S, which was a single rack unit that is a player with storage. But the problem with doing that is it caused compromises, because you've got a single processor that's trying to manage the storage and the file systems, as well as decoding movies and running the menu system. So by decoupling those two things and making a server that fits on one side and the player that fits on the other side, means both of those things can excel at what they need to do. And so what that did, particularly on the storage side of things, by having a dedicated server, means that now you can download your content 4 times faster than you could with the Strato S. And so, as Phil said, if you've got a good internet service, gigabit Ethernet is widely available now. You can download a 4K movie in about 10 minutes. And then you can have more players attached to it playing at the same time. So you can have up to 5 different streams running at the same time off of a single compact Terra. And then when you expand out to the full-size Terra, which we added larger sizes of, because people are getting more movies and getting more 4K movies, so you need more storage. And so within that same amount of space, being able to have 72 terabytes means you can have 1,200 movies stored on that single box. And when you do that, you also, if you've got a large, wonderful house with lots of viewing zones, you could run up to 10 4K movies at the same time out of a full-size Terra.
The nice thing is you buy content for one of them and you can use them in all the rooms, and the quality in all the rooms are going to be better, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, so I love this system, and the fact that the new one is so compact that you can get a Strato C and a Terra C in the same 1RU rack mount that I had for Strato S. It's a little deeper because there's hard drives and stuff in it, but it will still fit in that standard 1U rack mount side by side, which I think is really, really cool.
Yep.
Yeah. So huge selection of products that are available, a legacy of consistent high quality performance that has made it pretty much the industry standard for pretty much every reviewer, every retailer, and every high-end home theater system. And when you combine the Stewart Filmscreen, you end up knowing that you're going to get the best performance from your projection system in any application, whether it's a theater or a media room. Now, Andre, we talked about the older promotion between Kaleidescape and Stewart. Are there any new things that you're adding to that promotion?
We have promotions with a couple of different partners, and one of the other ones that's important in this discussion is our partnership with Sony as well. And it's really exciting. I know that that they announced 3 new projectors that are killer projectors. By having a projector with a really good analyzer and tone mapper, being able to feed that high quality content to it means you're going to get scene by scene or frame by frame ideal HDR imagery across the entire movie. And again, having that on a Stewart screen that is reference quality, unity gain in a dedicated theater, you're going to see every one of those 8 million pixels up on the screen.
I just literally did the review on the new XW7000ES. I put it up the second it was announced, and I will tell you that under $40,000 is only one other projector that can rival it, and that would be something like maybe the new JVC NZ9.
So if anybody who's watching buys or sells one of those projectors, that they can then, if they buy a Kaleidescape system at the same time, you can get $1,000 off the Kaleidescape system when you purchase any Sony projector, or even TVs for that matter, that are over $49.95.
Mhm.
And so that includes all of the Sony 4K projectors.
Mhm.
So that's a great promotion. And the really cool thing is that you can stack the Sony promotion with the Stewart promotion. If you're buying a projector, you want to buy a great screen to go with it. And so you can
Nice.
take $2,000 off of the Kaleidescape system by putting those two things together. And I think that Adrian's even got some extra incentives on top of that.
Do you have any extra incentives?
We do for the dealers and our integrators. So on the director's choice, it would be a $500 credit to the dealer. VistaScope would be $300, and the WallMask would be $100.
Okay, cool. That's cool. So you can see how these partnerships all work together. So, Andre, thank you for coming and talking a little bit about Kaleidescape and what makes it so special. And Adrian, thank you for driving down and hanging out with us to talk about the cool things that Stewart Filmscreen has to offer.
Thank you for having us.
Okay, so to find out more about Kaleidescape, check out kaleidescape.com, and to find out more about Stewart Filmscreens, check out stewartfilmscreens.com. And of course, to check out our reviews on Projector Reviews for the Kaleidescape. And when he sends me a couple of screens, we will be doing reviews on some of their screens as well. So take care, everyone, and we will talk to you soon.